With the 42nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Kamari Lassiter, defensive back, Georgia.
So we're seeing a run on defensive backs here.
Yeah, and this is a nickel. Day one starter at the next level. Did not run the 40 time he wanted, running in the low 4.6s. But when you watch him on tape, you see someone who's very tough and very instinctive. Here he is in press man coverage. Look at him stay right on the hip, turn, locate the football, poke the ball away. Very patient, very fluid. Here he is against Xavier Legette. Always under control. He might not run the fastest as you'd want, but he's always in great position. He can cover up for some of that lack of speed because of the instincts. And again, the toughness, it's been a theme on this run of corners we've seen go lately. This is another one. Again, very physical, very aggressive.
Christian Harris, the second-round pick himself, announcing the pick of Kamari Lassiter, the next second-rounder headed to Houston here, Lance.
Well, there's another nickel cornerback, and Kamari Lassiter, he didn't run great. As you can see, the 4.6, 4.40, but Houston will throw some zone coverages out there. Look, what D'Amico Ryans wants is a very tough run supporter as well. This is somebody with really good feet. He's not the fastest player, but you'll see on tape he makes a lot of plays. So I think he has a great understanding of what his weaknesses are, how to counter them, and how to crowd wide receivers down the field. The other thing you see right there is his change of direction. He has quick start and stop, good start and stop feet. It showed up on his three-cone drills and on his on the pro shuttle. So that's something you look for, Bucky. If the feet aren't fast in the 40-yard dash, if you don't have a great 40-yard dash, you want to see the fast feet and see if he can transition into nickel, and that's exactly what we saw.
That is what we saw, and I think if you go back and you look at the Missouri game, you had an opportunity to see him play nickel corner. He did a great job locking up and playing there. The things that show up on tape: physicality, toughness, high IQ. This is a guy that kind of fits what the Houston Texans have been able to do under D'Amico Ryans.
With the 59th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Blake Fisher, tackle, Notre Dame. Yes, sir, Cade.
And this was my highest rated tackle that was still sitting out there. Blake Fisher, just a redshirt sophomore. He is one of the younger guys in this group. The foot quickness, the punch and slide, and again, he's young, so he's still developing. I believe if he goes back to school next year, we're talking about him as a potential first-round pick. He decided to leave with his bookend tackle, and Joe Alt, he enters into the NFL. But CD, when you watched him as a young player, this is someone who shows you everything. It's just not all there yet. He's a little bit tight, has a little bit of ankle stiffness there, but I think he's going to be a better player a year from now than he is right now.
And you know what I think they want to do? They want to see if he can hold down that right tackle spot and then get Titus Howard inside the guard, who played a lot of that last year when they had injuries and had to shuffle the offensive line. This feels like that type of a move by Nick Caserio, the GM, to try and get that offensive line fortified for C.J. Stroud.
This is interesting. Blake Fisher, they just gave a contract to Titus Howard the year before, just last year before the season started, and now you draft Blake Fisher, who is a tackle. Make no mistake, he's a right tackle, left tackle. On tape, there are moments where you say, man, this guy's as good as Joe Alt. I mean, he has some really, really good moments on tape. He came in as a highly regarded prospect, but was a little inconsistent. Could never snatch the mantle of left tackle away from Joe Alt early on in their careers. But when you watch him, he is just somebody with strong hands. He has the ability to get to a spot, his landmarks. In Notre Dame, you're going to be a better run blocker. You pay attention to hand usage. You pay attention to your landmarks. He's an athletic tackle, which is something that you've got to have for Bobby Slowick in that outside zone offense. But more importantly, I think this is very intriguing because I know the left guard is a position right now for the Texans. It's a little bit of an open spot. There's going to be competition there. I just wonder if they're maybe thinking of moving Titus Howard down there again to left guard where he hasn't been very good, or if they think Blake Fisher can play some guard early in his career. I don't know.
I just remember C.J. Stroud playing against the Jaguars, second game of the season, had to play with 4 backup offensive linemen. So after you played like that, maybe you just want to make sure that you have enough depth to always ensure that your franchise quarterback has good people in front of him.
And look, Kenyon Green has been banged up, right? It was the 2022 first-round pick. Did not play last year. Put him back at guard. Juice Scruggs, center. Is this a Shaq Mason replacement at right guard?
The Philadelphia Eagles have traded the 78th pick to the Houston Texans. With the 78th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Calen, Bullock, defensive back, USC.
Interesting they announced him as a defensive back because he played safety, that free safety role for USC. Some teams believe he could hold up outside at corner, could be a press man corner. The comparison for me was Marcus Williams because of that range. He makes some ridiculous plays from the middle of the field, as you see right here. High point the football all the way over on the sideline. I saw this kid play in high school. If you thought he looks like a freak on this field, you should see him against a bunch of small private school kids that I saw him against. But big time athleticism. My buddy Bucky Brooks likes to talk about guys who can be the ornament on top of the Christmas tree, the star up there. He can play up there as that high safety. Tackling was an issue at times, not because he wasn't willing, just because he didn't have enough sand, and every now and then he'd take one for the team and take a charge.
I mean, some would say it was because of the jersey, right? Because they were allergic to tackling as a defense the last couple of years, and I believe it was their lack of production as a defense that actually hurt him. If you go back a couple of years, he was projecting towards more of a higher round, maybe top 2 round, maybe even a first-round draft pick, but because that defense struggled so mightily over the last couple of years, I feel like his stock was hit.
It's sketch, people.
Love this guy.
The Philadelphia Eagles have traded the 123rd pick to the Houston Texans. With the 123rd pick of the NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Cade Stover, tight end, Ohio State.
Oh, we're going from the punter to wrap up the Bears draft to a top-notch tight end, the man who massages the leather. Show it to me.
There it is.
Talk about strong hands. That's the way you get it. You tell a bull, rest easy, kid. I got your back. And I'm strengthening my hands. And you asked him at the combine what he was doing. And what did he tell you?
He said, I'm kneading the leather. K-N-E-A-D-I-N-G.
He's massaging it, man.
Well, don't rub that bull too hard, or you're going to have Chris Ballard's favorite word on the ground. As we look at his highlights here, you see the ruggedness, the run-after catch ability, the sneaky athleticism. First time so far in the draft we're going to use that one, CD. Sneaky athleticism from Cade Stover.
Multiple positions, too, right, in his college career, DJ?
Yeah, you can move him around. Inline play in the wing as well. He's played on the defensive side of the ball. Going to break tackles. High school running back and linebacker. Started out on the defensive line. And let's get another look at that here.
Can't see it enough.
Look at that bull. That bull saying, you all want someone to massage you like Cade Stover is massaging that guy. Look at that. Life's good.
I'm here to announce that with the 188th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Jamal Hill, linebacker, Oregon.
Oregon crushing it today. I don't know what the tally is on the day, but that is now 8 Oregon.
8?
Well, it's 8 overall for the draft.
It's at least 7 today.
Yeah, they're
at least 7. So this is a guy. So Texans have a little thing they do where if they bring you in for a top 30, you got a good chance of getting drafted. Another top 30 visit was not Troy Hill, but Jamal Hill. I really like Jamal Hill. I watched tape and immediately sent some text messages to some friends in the league like, hey, have you seen this guy yet? Man, he's a former safety turned linebacker with tremendous speed, ran in the 4.4s at his pro day. He's a newcomer to the position. So, he's not ready yet in terms of making the reads, but look how physical he is. Sure. Like, he's got the physicality of a linebacker. That's not a problem. He just needs to add a little bit more weight. Now, even if he's only a backup, he is going to be a plus special teams player because he is a run and hit player. Great speed to get down the field, and then he can lay you out when it comes to tackling.
Officially making that pick, I'm just pulling it up. Mekhi Wingo, LSU, a defensive tackle off the board. Last year, 4.5 sacks, played in the 8 games, making his presence felt.
With the 205th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Juwan Jordan, running back, Louisville.
Okay. I got you. Anytime you start dealing with running backs for an outside zone scheme team, their board's going to look way different than everyone else's boards, just to be honest with you. I've got him as a priority free agent. I was more interested in Isaac Guerrando, who came from the same school. But once you have Bobby Slowick in there in that scheme, and the Mike came from the Mike Shanahan / Kyle Shanahan School of Coaching, and Sean McVay, all these guys, they see running backs a little bit different. He doesn't. What they're probably looking at here is this is going to be our new Devin Singletary. Singletary came in, did a really nice job for the Houston Texans last year. He's got same kind of size, similar wiggle.
With the 238th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Solomon Byrd, defensive end, USC. With the 247th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Marcus Harris, defensive tackle, Auburn.
This is an intriguing one for me. Marcus Harris is tough at the point of attack. He's a little undersized at 3 technique at 286 pounds, but apparently the Texans don't have a problem with it because they're going smaller and smaller inside because D'Amico Ryans wants to find guys who are tough to block inside. And usually that's with quickness. But Marcus Harris is unusually strong for his size. He can really play at the point of attack and swap paint with the guy across from him. He may not be the biggest guy, but big guys have a hard time moving him around because he can really anchor up. Some guys, Bucky, are just strong in the hips and you just have a hard time moving him. Aaron Donald was a guy like that who was just, he may have been smaller, but you just couldn't move him around.
With the 249th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Ladarius Henderson, guard, Michigan.
Ladarius transferred over after playing at Arizona State, transferred over. You know, he beat out a more talented player in Trent Jones. Trent Jones, the player who really flashes on tape from time to time. A little bit inconsistent, a little bit immature. Ladarius Henderson, just kind of a pro's pro. Well, we'll find out if he's a pro's pro, but he was definitely a guy that Jim Harbaugh really liked. He showed up, went to work every day there on that right side. Is a decent athlete. I think he has some trouble in terms of pass protection and consistency. He's going to have some issues with players bull rushing him as well, but you know, anytime you play at Michigan, you've got the hands and the feet, and you do things the right way from a technique standpoint. I think it would have benefited him if he played longer at Michigan as opposed to Arizona State where things were so turbulent. But he's got an outside shot here. He's playing for Bobby Slowick, and you know, we'll see if he can make that transition to right tackle in a zone scheme team.